Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of TFT Hyper Roll with Artark. I know it's been a little while since I uploaded. I had to do some in real life stuff, and I have not been able to play much. I also have a bunch of games I recorded before the real life stuff came up, and they were on the previous patch. I went through them. There aren't many differences, so I'm going to go ahead and post these games. Hope that's okay with you. Subscribe, like, comment, you know the drill. Now, I put up a video last week where I happened to hit 4 aces using Underground, and it was a very specific augment that got me there, and it was the Unrelenting Force that you see here. I used it in that case to create Vi as just a tank, which is really all I've ever used her for in any match. I decided this time that I was going to try to use it and make her the main carry through most of the match, and see if that could possibly work. So Unrelenting Force is a fascinating little augment because she's just going to keep stacking AD, AP, magic resist, and armor. So ultimately, not only can she be a frontliner, essentially she could be a carry with the right items. Now, I'm warning you in advance, I'm going to get them wrong, as you probably already saw from the thumbnail. Now, I'm going to stand behind my choice of Deathblade here because her ult does a percentage of her attack damage. It's 250% if I remember right. So stacking the attack damage was a good idea, and you can see she's doing tons of damage here and helping us win these early matches. Now, here's where I mess up. I decide to go ahead and get the bow, and then I decide to go ahead and put the last Whisperer onto Vi, which makes no sense because she sunders with her ult, and adding another sunder which won't stack did absolutely no good except give a little more crit chance. I probably should have held the bow for a needlessly large rod and made a rage blade or just about anything else I could do, but this particular item was not really valuable for Vi. But look, if you make a mistake in TFT, join the party. We all do. Everyone does. So don't beat yourself up over it. Just try to continue the match and see if you can make up for it. We have all put wrong items on champions at times. It's time for our second augment, and I cannot resist featherweights too. Vi is a 2 cost. I'm planning on making her the main carry of this build, so I'm going to go ahead, take featherweights, and speed up her attack. I'm also looking to do Brawlers and Aegis up front so I can increase Vi's health and also the magic resist on the team. It is time for an item choice, and I'm going to go ahead and grab the Giant's Belt here, but not necessarily to make the Sunfire Cape at this time. I have other plans for that chain vest that's sitting on the bench, and that to make a Titan's Resolve on Vi, so she'll be getting stacking on top of stacking. And I am 1 Vi away from getting her up to gold, and I wish I could get a magnetic remover so I could pull the last Whisperer off and put a better item on there, but I think at gold 3 stars I will be able to live with it. I just have to get there. And while I think getting to the gold 3-star Vi is going to help through carry a lot of the game, I don't necessarily think she's going to be able to close. It's going to get really difficult once you're facing legendary champs, so I'm going to need a plan that will work into that. It's time for the final augment, and while I'm initially tempted by this Brawler crest, I'm not necessarily going to go to 6 Brawlers, so I go ahead and roll this and hope that I can get something better. I think the Axiom Arc will play well because that will allow Vi to cast more often. Since I had picked up an early Aphelios, I decided to grab the bow here because Rage Blade is going to be very good. I go with Dusk Wave and then put on the Rage Blade and the Spear of Sojin, and then hope I can get an additional damage item down the line and put the Sunfire Cape onto Sejuani, who's going to help provide some much needed CC on the front line. Here's also where I'm playing a little bit of mix and match. I brought in Alistar to be an additional Aegis, but Alistar is also an Ox Force, and so Aphelios, also being an Ox Force, is going to benefit from that. So I'm trying to build a team more around Vi than just relying on Vi to be the ultimate carry. As you can see, it's going to be Aphelios who finishes this one off. And just because it's a fun moment in any video to see when a dream comes true, there it is, the gold 3-star Vi, who is going to be the main carry for most of this match. And now that she's up at gold, you can see the immediate impact. She is able to tear through front lines, not because of the last Whisperer, but because her ult also sunders, so she's weakening their armor and then tearing them apart. And just to show this transition, as I mentioned, I was not planning on keeping the 6 Brawlers. I bring in Samira as an additional sure shot, get rid of Blitz, and bring in Echo as an additional Aegis. So I'm now up to 3 Aegis, 2 sure shots, 2 Ox Force, and a 3-star gold Vi in the middle of it. The next item choice is very interesting. I get an Underground emblem, and I'm currently using 2 Undergrounds, Vi and Samira, as part of the team. So if I get the Underground emblem, I'm going to end up getting the buff and the additional items just playing along with what I'm already doing. I'm looking here for a final Aphelios item, and I'm torn between the Bloodthirster and the Hand of Justice. Both have value, but ultimately I decide on the Hand of Justice because I'm going to get multiple effects and additional effects on top of it when it triggers. And for this next match, I just want to point out what I consider an error here. Having the Duelist and then a Rage Blade on Belveth is just a waste. She's going to be getting to that 5 attacks per second so fast you end up not making real use of it, and her power is reduced because of it. But in the end, it doesn't matter for us because we are now into the top 4. And Vi has now become 1 part tank, 1 part damage. She's going to shred through most of her team, and then what I find funny in this particular one is she's going to end up chasing Nunu around the board until she finally gets him down and then turns onto their power center. Their fiddle can do a lot of damage because it didn't pop until the end, but we have enough attack to take it down. Since we're running Underground, these are not necessarily our last items, but I'm looking for Samira items. I go ahead and grab Deathblade. Then, mistake number 2 about to come up. I actually thought I had gone to Giant Slayer and then realized, oh, I took the Rabadon's Death Cap. Don't know how that happened. I was a little distracted at the moment, but yeah, ended up putting the Rabadon's Death Cap onto Echo. It's not the worst thing in the world, and then brought in Leona to be the final Aegis, so I now have 4 Aegis as my front line. And then the carryover from that mistake is I didn't check in to see who I was fighting. I actually wanted Sejuani on the opposite side here so I could stun more of their team. My stun goes off, but I don't catch as many of them as I would like. So Aphelios and Samira are not able to do as much damage as I would like, and ultimately they're able to get in and take out my backline. But again, mistakes happen. They don't have to be the end of your match. This team is upgraded to a 2-star Fiddle, so I'm a little concerned because as their team goes down, Fiddle's going to be gaining AP, and with a Jeweled Gauntlet, Rabadon's Death Cap, and Hextech Gunblade, Fiddle is going to be able to do a lot of damage. The good thing is Vi does not actually have the space to get in right now, so she is maintaining her health from the outside. This is ultimately likely to come down to Fiddle versus Vi, and that's the fight I want to have because Vi can hold up and finish it off. Now down to a 1v1, and I'm not going to make the same mistake this time. I'm going to check in and see where they're placed so I can decide how everything needs to go so I have my best chance of winning. I'm hoping to get a 2-star Aphelios before this is done because I believe I'm going to need that in order to win. But I wanted Vi as far away from the bulk of their team as possible and Sejuani closer so that she can stun a large majority of them. Ultimately, the idea is that Aphelios is going to be able to do a lot of damage from the outside, and I want to keep Aphelios protected. So hopefully the entire team will focus more on trying to get Vi and the rest of my front line down, and as you can see, that's what happens. They stay focused there. Samira and Aphelios are able to work together to finish them off. It is time for an Underground reward, and I was really hoping for a damage item for Samira, but I will certainly take the Spirit Visage. There is no reason to try to continue the heist. This game is going to be over in 2 tries. I can lose 1, or if I happen to win this one, I win it outright. I've picked up the 2-star Aphelios, so I'm feeling pretty good about my chances here. The question is, how long will Vi survive? I ended up putting the Spirit Visage onto Leona because she is a fairly tanky unit, and getting the additional health certainly won't hurt. It quickly comes down to Vi, Leona, Aphelios, and Samira against the rest of their team.
but my team is strong enough to survive, and it is GG for everyone. Hope you enjoyed this video and saw that making a few mistakes is not the end of the world. And as always, have an absolutely awesome day.